Hello, I am Kayla Eldridge, an audiologist for Derby School District. I also am an advocate for students. My personal demographics: I am married to a middle school social studies teacher who also coaches football and basketball. I have 3 adopted children. 2 of them have IEPs, and then I also have 3 fur babies at home. I am an educational audiologist with ambitions to lead a special education department. Currently, I am working for USD 260, which is Derby. We have about 7,000 students, including 9 elementaries, 2 middle schools, and a high school. I also work for Mulvane School District 263, where we have about 1,800 students. And there's 1 primary school that is pre-K through 2nd, a grade school that is 3rd through 5th, a middle school that is 6th through 8th, and a high school that has 9th through 11th. I also work PRN at Wesley Medical Center as an audiologist doing clinical work. I believe that we need to make sure that everyone is able to access communication. So that's why I do my job that I do, which is to make sure that hearing loss doesn't keep kids from communicating. Some of the communication strategies that I use are provided by the district. The only thing that the district does not provide is my cell phone, and I provide as my main form of communication for myself throughout the day, though that's usually just my main contact for parents. If you look here, I show how I communicate best with students is in person, with parents usually by phone, with administration and teachers usually it's by email, and my peers, when I'm doing work with my peers, I usually do those via video calls. So my old introduction was just I am Kayla Eldridge, educational audiologist for Derby and Mulvane schools, but my new one, after reviewing all of the course information, my name is Kayla Eldridge. I'm an advocate for students. I'm currently working as a related service provider as an audiologist to ensure all students have the opportunity to succeed in school regardless of hearing level. I also work as an advocate for my own children and their needs as they progress through school. This work began when my children came through foster care. I think that when I'm doing an introduction for leadership, I think that it needs to be a unified approach to reach all stakeholders, including students, parents, educators, staff, administration, the board, and the community. I would like to have in-person for the most part on my communication, so I'd like that to be open to any stakeholder. I think that having set hours where you're available weekly for that, and that can be either in person, via video conference, however that needs to work, so that you could have that face-to-face contact with somebody, I think is important. I think emails going out to all stakeholder groups and crafted to each stakeholder group to make sure that those are personalized. The media would be directed through our communications director per our district policy. We have a new strategic plan that's being worked on this summer, and it will be released in the fall. I am working with them on that plan, but the sections that I'm working on do not deal with communication, so I'm not sure exactly what that's going to look like for communication for the fall. I am also working with the communications director to release a video that would be posted on all websites. The correlation to CLO 5.3, just a reminder that CLO 5.3 is to communicate through oral, written, and digital means within the larger organizational, community, and political context when advocating for the needs of school and community. So my oral communication was through this video. My written communication was done through the slides, and then I had digital communication using slides, Screencast-O-Matic, YouTube, as well as Currents. My relevancy statement: how was this assignment relevant to me? It required me to reflect on my current communication practices and determine if I'm doing my best. It also required me to reassess how I introduce myself to others, and I found that my old way of introducing myself may not be putting my best foot forward. So I will be revising that as I move forward. Why was it relevant to me? Well, I use communication every day in my job. It's especially important to be a good communicator when you are a leader. And how did I learn? The articles I read showed me that I need to be sure that I'm inclusive in my communication. I think the one with the lady talking about how the doctor introduced himself to her and the family when her husband was having heart issues was eye-opening to me. A lot of times I will say my name is Dr. Kayla Eldridge, and I want to be sure that I'm not utilizing that doctor title in a way that would be off-putting to anyone that I'm speaking with. It also taught me that I need to be direct and intentional with my communication. I think sometimes we can spit out an email or a voicemail or a text message to somebody and maybe not have thought out exactly what we're trying to communicate before we let that go out. And I think that that's something that's very important, is that we need to be intentional with our communication. When I look back on my reflection for this module, I can look at my communication modes and see areas for improvement, especially when it comes to introducing myself. Telling someone that I meet that I'm an audiologist is not as impactful as telling someone I'm an advocate. I will revise my introduction to engage others. My changing the way that I introduce myself could impact the way others view who I am. It might also impact them to look at how they're introducing themselves and possibly be able to get that out there, that there are better ways to do introductions besides just the basic one. And this assignment has made me be a better educator and a future leader, as I was more reflective of my introductions, and I will continue to be reflective in the future. Thanks, and I look forward to working with you this semester.